Well, another dog walk Timblab session. I've got some bigger projects that I'm working on. But right now, Memorial Day, I want to wish each of you a reverently happy Memorial Day. Every year I have to remind people they don't seem to know the difference between the meaning of Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and Armed Forces Day. Armed Forces Day is to in American society. Armed Forces Day is to honor those servicemen and women who are now serving in the military. Veterans Day is to honor people like myself who did serve. Memorial Day, on the other hand, is reserved for those who died during their service to the country. I always see people like on Facebook and other, they post up pictures of themselves or their kids or whoever in uniform, but these people are still alive. All right. I see a beaver dam down there. See what I'm talking about? I'm going to go down there and investigate just for lack of nothing else to do. This way, puppy. Well, we'll do that on another trip. That's a bit of walking. Dog's out of shape. I think there's a lot more wildlife in this creek ditch. Really, it's a ditch, flood ditch. This is all flood zone. There's a pretty big stream out there, and it empties into Owasco Lake about a mile that way. Maybe not even a mile. It's a pretty big lake. About 20-mile long lake. About a mile wide in places. One of the Finger Lakes in central New York. Yeah, there's definitely beaver dam, at least one of them going on down there. In my little world, that's news. That's real news. Well, summer's here. You can tell by the flowers. God's artwork. Just like that's God's artwork right there. This gassy old dog. I've got some other things I'm working on right now. Putting together a video on Danaan. My photos from Danaan. I'm not sure. I'm not going to put many of my videos from Danaan in. It's just so much material. I took over 1,100 photos of that place. Obviously, I'm not going to post all of them. But if you want really good pictures, take a lot of pictures. Especially in this day and age where it's pretty much free. It is free. I mean, I was a Shutterbug camera fan years ago when it was 35 millimeter. And that wasn't really a cheap hobby because I think it cost $0.25 a picture to have it developed and printed. But this was like 20 years ago, 20 or 30 years ago. That quarter was more like 75 cents. You know, back then, 50 cents, I don't know. But you zip away, man. This phone that I have is state of the art at the time of this video. This Galaxy S23 Ultra. It takes very good pictures. Now I'm sure next year it'll be outdated and there'll be something better, which personally I hope so. But right now I'm quite impressed with the photos and videos this thing takes. It's definitely an upgrade from my previous phone. Now folks, this here's wild cherry wood, which where I live is quite common, and I cook with this. Yeah, I cook and smoke. I make my pizzas with it. This year I've been building my fires with it. This year I've been using cherry wood. It's been apple wood and maple previous. One thing about cherry wood, these people cut this down. One thing about cherry wood, it's really good to cook with and smoke with, like barbecue, the smoke flavor. Gives it a sweet, mellow, kind of a mellow, sweet taste. Nothing too overpowering. However, do not use the bark on the wood. It's not going to poison you. But I was using the bark quite a lot because I thought the bark really gave it more of the cherry smoke flavor. But what it does, the bark puts a very bitter taste on your food if you use too much of it. It's not going to make you sick. But I found this out the other day, cooking. I made a calzone in my pizza oven with cherry wood and a lot of bark. I put right in there, and I cooked a nice sirloin steak on the grill with nothing but cherry wood. And again, I threw a lot of bark in there, thinking it was going to make it taste better. Well, I brought the food in to chow down. Come to find out, it left a bitter taste in my mouth and a type of bitterness that was not pleasant at all. It stayed with me for about 2 hours, and I thought I'd poisoned myself or something, and it really wasn't that bad, but it's bad enough to get your attention. These are cherry trees here. And it went away after 2 hours. I didn't get sick. It just left a really bitter, sour taste in my mouth and throat. And I looked it up on Google, and everybody says this wild cherry is a excellent wood to cook with and barbecue smoke with. But a few people said, don't use the bark. It will leave an extremely bitter taste on your food. And it will. So you want to use, if you're going to cook with cherry wood, wild cherry like this, or I think any cherry tree. There's a cherry tree there too. Wild cherry. Use it by all means, but make sure it's seasoned. And try to just avoid using the bark. It's not going to make you sick, as far as I know. I didn't get sick, but it is unpleasant. All right, so yeah, I'm going to make that video on, like I was saying, I'm making it actually. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of photographs on Dinan. Then I'm going to make a separate video on all the photographs I got of St. Malo, which was quite nice, by the ocean. Cancale, which was by the ocean, which was nice if you love oysters and you liked watching fishermen go about their business. And then what I got out of Paris, which I kind of had 2 days in Paris, which was kind of a crash course because that city is enormous. I'm going to head back because this dog is already tired. So things going on. I'm going to make a video about my spiritual battle that I went through recently, which you can just take it for wherever you want to take it. But it was definitely spiritual warfare of a sort. I even had what I personally I'm certain was a demonic attack. It was very reminiscent of the same sort of thing that happened to me when I was 27, when I encountered that thing they call Bigfoot in Whitehall, which is demonic. It's not an animal at all. And a few people in Whitehall would agree with me, because I'm not the only one to encounter it there. Yeah, and I also had an answer from God, and took me to a whole new level. So something good came out of it. My dear, dear loved one's passing, sudden passing. It really, as you know, shook me up, and it still has me shaken up to a lesser degree, thanks to our Lord. And I'll tell of that, but I'm not going to tell that story in my house. No way. Am I going to sit there with candles and a black curtain behind me and talk about something that involved a demonic attack. It was very sudden and very distinct in very negative ways. And it took the name of Jesus Christ to free me up from that. If I didn't know Jesus, first off, I probably wouldn't be fighting spiritual warfare, so I wouldn't be a target of the enemy. But because I was fighting a spiritual warfare, yeah, I became a target. So you better know Christ well and call on his name with courage and faith. So, and not just be like some of these ghost hunters that, I don't get it, you know. They put themselves into these situations seeking out evil stuff and hauntings just for thrills. And they don't really know Christ, or they wouldn't be doing that. You know, I could see if you're following after Christ, trying to do God's work, you know, and fighting off evil, like an exorcist. But these people aren't doing that. It's just thrill seekers, paranormal thrill seekers. And though I tell a lot of ghost stories on my channel, I certainly do not advocate that sort of thing at all. At all. Strongly advise against it for different reasons. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go home and cook out. That's the plan. And be careful not to use any cherry wood bark. Actually, now I've got maple and oak. And I'm going to use the cherry wood, but I was cooking solely with cherry wood before. And I had to throw a sirloin steak out and a calzone that was pretty good. I couldn't eat it, either of them. Just a little word for those of you that may do like me, cook out, you know, gather wood like this here. It's just sitting out here rotting. This cherry, I could come out here with my chainsaw and cut this up. Be cooking off that for a while. I could cook the whole summer off these. But I've got a lot of cherry wood. Tomorrow we'll come out to the beaver dam and see what the beaver is up to. As that is news in my little world. That's news. Come on, puppy. I don't know if he dithers or if he's just getting old. Both. He's always been a ditherer. He looks kind of tired. Well, he was looking that way yesterday when I walked him. Until he saw something to chase, and all of a sudden he was full of energy again. This dog is not beyond playing games with me. I mean, this dog's known me his entire life. The dog knows me pretty well. And he's fairly intelligent in his way. And he does certainly know how to manipulate me, because I'm a pushover. I'm not a tough guy. I'm a cream puff. And he knows it. You know, I like these wetlands. You know, there's so much diverse life, and our ecosystem depends upon the wetlands. And all kinds of animals and birds and fish, amphibians. I am a believer in protecting the wetlands. This thing's drying up. I'm inclined to think it's not just because we've had a bit of a drought here already this year for June 1st, or actually it's May 30th, which is the end of May. But I think that beaver dam has something to do with it, don't you? We'll have to investigate that tomorrow. Not disturb anything. A railroad bridge. Now the snowmobilers use it. They're the ones that cut down that cherry tree and made a mess. They didn't even, I think they might have had 3 days out of the year this past winter for their snowmobiling. He looks pooped. Hey, you gonna make it, pal? Let's go home, get some cold water, something to eat, huh? Okay, folks. Take care. God bless. Till next time.